Welcome back to Down the Track. I have with me my co-host Abrar Aziz, and we'll be discussing two really close games and series-deciding games. Brilliant India versus Sri Lanka. That was a fantastic game, and England Pakistan as well. The atmosphere there was just ecstatic. Don, first game India versus Sri Lanka. It looked like it was Sri Lanka's game. India really struggling.
I mean,
Six
yeah,
seven down. Bhuvneshwar and Deepak Chahar come into bat. Did you have any hopes?
honestly, no. Honestly, at that point, when with I think what over 80, 90 runs to win with only 2 wickets left after these guys, and with no recognized batsman per se. Like I mean, who knew Deepak Chahar was a recognized batsman? But yeah, it was a fantastic innings of good patience. I think that they were playing very well. Hasaranga was bowling well, so they blocked him off quite nicely, and they were taking risks against some of the other bowlers. So it was very nice to see the kind of maturity that both of them showed. I think especially Deepak Chahar, because he's not been in the scene for too long. So to show that maturity, to be able to back with those runs that he actually got, and Bhuvi as playing second fiddle was also quite nice. But the never say die attitude of this Indian team is something that I'm quite impressed with. There are issues with this Indian team in general. Yes, we've already spoken about that, but you have to comment that this is a team that never gives up, and this we've seen. We've seen a change in Ganguly's time. We've seen it kind of really enforce in Dhoni's time, and really put to bed in Virat's time. Virat has really taken that up a notch. If there's any, we always criticize Virat for the mistakes he's made, but this is something that you have to accept that he's done very well. Is that even if it's 8 down, 9 down, that attitude of never say die has been something that is very good. And Sri Lanka, on the other hand, man, I mean, when things are not going your way, they just really aren't. This was a game that they should have won. They haven't won a series against India in I believe 9 years now. So it's been hard for them to beat India, and India is definitely a higher skill level team, and a team that is has a lot more resources available. But I genuinely believe that this was a chance for them to change it up. But when the confidence isn't there, when the things are not going in your favor, it just really goes downhill. And this is, I think, the lowest moment for them at this point in time.
Yeah, if you look at Sri Lanka, honestly, they also have three players missing, and then Matthews not playing. So there's a lot of trouble there. But
Yeah.
when you're in that moment, in that situation, whoever you have, whatever personnel you have, you will favor yourselves 10 out of 10 times. I think when you have the opposition 197 with only bowlers to come, and honestly, apart from the actual Indian team, I don't even know about them. But all of us outside, even the commentators, didn't know that Deepak Chahar can pull off an innings like that. We've seen Bhuvneshwar pull off an innings in this same country against the same
2018. Yep.
with Dhoni, and it was very good to see Bhuvneshwar actually switch roles and play that Dhoni role. Dhoni was the one, just rotating and letting Bhuvi hit, and over here he rotated it. And Deepak Chahar, the way he was striking the ball, unbelievable. Did you know that he had this? He plays for your home team, Chennai Super Kings.
Honestly, I never did, but
Yeah.
I saw his presentation after that, and he said that Rahul Dravid has backed him to be that number 7 player, and that's something that's huge, because if Deepak Chahar can fill that role, that gives India another bowling all rounder that they can bank on, because he's a good bowler.
Big
And
positive,
yeah,
because
it's a big
Indian tail
positive.
doesn't wag, so
It
it's a
doesn't
huge
wag. So
positive. Yeah.
this is a huge thing. I mean, with Shardul Thakur a few months back, and with now Deepak Chahar, these guys can actually, if they can give you that, if they can give you those bowling all round options, that's beautiful to see for Indian cricket in general. So very happy with this performance, and that grit that they showed. We've seen it in Jan Feb when we went to Australia. Now we're seeing it again. So it's beautiful to see that, and more power to these youngsters.
Yeah, would you say that for this particular team, the youngsters, it's high risk cricket, so they will lose games as well. Like they could have easily lost the second one day, but then they can win games like the first match as well. So would you like to see this style? Because when the likes of Kohli, Rohit Sharma are back, it's going to be a completely different approach. They will take time in the power play, they will settle in, and when they need to, they will hit. But this is a complete different approach. So do you like this type of approach where it's very risky, because we saw the top order bundled out in this game? Even Surya Kumar, he looked $1 million, but then he got out. The likes of Prithvi Shaw, Kishan, Kunal Pandya to that extent, Hardik Pandya, these guys are all going from ball one. So it's that kind of approach where either you just bundle out or you can chase anything. Do you like seeing this kind of approach?
This is the kind of approach that England and West Indies have been doing successfully
Yeah.
for a while now. So it's been something that's worked for them, and I think that it is the future of the white ball cricket game. So I think it's good that there's this side to this Indian side that is actually pushing to that those levels, and that's the only way you'll be able to compete with the likes of England and West Indies. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to compare with them, especially in the T20 format. In the white ball cricket, you have a little bit more time, so I wouldn't be surprised if you take a little bit more of a mellow approach. But especially in T20 cricket, I think that's the way to go, and I'm happy that this team is trying to go on those lines. And I think that yes, you're right. They will lose a game here and there, but if they win more than they lose, it doesn't matter.
Yep, and just quickly on the spinners, Kuldeep didn't pick up wickets in this game, but he did in the first game. Chahal picked up 3 wickets, so it's good to see these guys getting some confidence. And you think at least one of these two will be back going forward because they are natural wicket takers.
I think so. I think both of them have been good, and it's been unfortunate that India have run around this in circles over the past couple of years since 2019. I mean, of course, a lot of cricket hasn't been played, but I just don't know why you change something that has been working. Yes, they were a little bit off form and they weren't picking up the wickets, but you should have always had one person in the team and just tried it a little bit differently, because they went all around in circles and they're back with these two guys now with the World Cup so close. So sometimes that's something, a bit of a criticism of the Indian side and the Indian coaching staff, where they kind of just try a little too much, and instead of nurturing what's available in terms of Kuldeep and Chahal. So I think that these two are probably still India's fine prospects in terms of spin department. There are a couple other guys coming through the ranks for sure, but I think that with experience and everything, these two should be backed into the next World Cup coming in barely a few months now.
Yeah, no, 100%. And lastly, Shikhar Dhawan, captaincy, the way he captained these younger lot, especially in the first game, I felt that even in his batting, you could see his captaincy side where, he played anchor. And on the field in general, I think the only issue would be death bowling. That's not really in his control, but overall, your thoughts on his captaincy. And yeah, I think we've already spoken about it. Death bowling, India will need to improve. The likes of Bhuvneshwar Kumar, he bowled well in this one day, but death bowling has been an issue. Karuna Ratne, I think he batted beautifully in both games. And they leak quite a few runs, so that's something that they will want to work on.
I agree 100%. That is one side that is really unfortunate that Indian cricket has been struggling with a lot. It's not been just it's not been just this season. It's been an issue over the past year, couple of years at least, with even the likes of Shami and Bumrah sometimes leaking runs in the death overs. So it's been a problem, and that needs to be rectified for sure. But I think that overall, I think that the bowling unit and the captaincy of Shikhar Dhawan has been pretty up to the mark, I would say. In terms of what was expected off of him as a stand-in captain. Your main captain, vice captain is busy in England, so you kind of have to step in this position and take this younger lot and really make it count. And it's beautiful to see that he was able to do that with some kind of solid emphasis on his game, and in the first ODI scoring some runs as well. So it's not like the captaincy is kind of bearing him down a little bit. I don't think that's the case as well.
Yeah, and it's good to see the captain and vice captain in England watching the game as well in the dressing room during the warm-up. It just shows that there is unity in this team and they do care about it, because they could have easily just focused on their own game. But I think that's something that's good. Of course, there will be strengths and weaknesses going into that T20 World Cup and even in the T20 series coming up against Sri Lanka. But we'll discuss that later. But I think overall, a great series win. I think with the youngsters to be in that position, the first one day it was all praise, but to win a game out of that, a sticky position, a very, very difficult position actually, and a random player stepping up, I think that will do a world of good. I think Rahul Dravid will be more happy with that compared to just winning comfortably. And I think kudos to them. And Mickey Arthur looked very, very emotional. I feel really bad for him, but he's had two tough jobs. First, the Pakistan coach, I think he did really well there. He won them the Champions Trophy, but and almost got them to the World Cup. But now again, this Sri Lankan team is just not there, and they're fighting. To be honest, they're still fighting, and let's see how it pans out.
And it's not only them as well. I mean, he's also coached apart from India, he's coached all the other subcontinent teams. He's coached Bangladesh as well. So
he's coached Bangladesh as well.
Back in the day, before Pakistan, I think it was.
Yeah. So his mental strength is next level, and I understand he gets emotional. It's good to see that pressure. I think it's difficult. Like if I'm playing with him, maybe I might not be the greatest admirer of that, like, your coach losing it. But
Yeah.
it's good to see that passion from the outside. Like, he really cares about the team if you look at it from that way.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
yeah, I
it
think
was
that,
a game that Sri Lanka should have really backed and
yeah,
finished off, and I can see why the frustration, but to be
100%.
able to calm it down in front of his players was something that was important. But I think it's just so hard because you only have this losing mentality, and then you are so close to winning, and then you lose again. So it's hard, and I can imagine what he would be going through at this point in time.
Yeah, and also just very quickly, I want to say Rahul Dravid, the batsman is and the player is not the same as Rahul Dravid, the coach. There was a bit of cred ad kind of things going on there. You could see, I wouldn't say he was getting anxious or anything, but you could see that, like, there is some emotion there, and he was getting a bit stressed.
And he's put on a few pounds as well, just like me. So it's so so not no. But yeah, I still think that there is a little bit of emotion for sure. But I think he's still a very smart guy, as which is obviously expected of him. And he was there and thereabouts, just giving those small tips and small things. You saw him walk down to
Rahul
Rahul
Chahar,
Chahar and give him a little bit of a tip over there.
I like
Those
how you
kind of things.
noticed that.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
kind of things are always important. So. And it worked out nicely. So yeah, I mean, I'm not too worried about the emotions. It's always nice to have some emotions in the game.
Yeah, fantastic. And looking forward to the third one day and then the T20s as well. I think India will experiment in that third one day, give the likes of what's it, Sanju Samson a try as well.
Yeah,
That will be interesting. We'll discuss that after that game. But moving on to the other game, Pakistan versus England. This was a nail biter as well. Fantastic. The crowd was just amazing.
yeah,
Pakistan winning the toss, putting on a mere 150, and then England. I think Pakistan did a good job actually to restrict them, and but England just crossing the line. It was a turning wicket.
yeah,
I think the likes Babar Azam missed his trick. He gave Hassan Ali the ball in the death, which I would do as well. But just looking at the wicket, they couldn't play the spin. It was
yeah.
turning. It was very difficult to hit straight. So I think Hafiz should have been brought in for that
That
extra
extra
over
over.
instead of Hassan Ali, or even Shadab had an over in the bank. And yeah, and I just wanted to say, I think Owen Morgan has some chip or something where he's installed in every single limited overs player in England that you have to attack. If you noticed, Jason Roy, Morgan himself, and Livingston, everyone hit a boundary, a 6 or a 4, and got out the next
Got
ball
it.
when the run rate was in grasp. There's no thinking of, and the person who played the sensible innings was Jordan, who's not even like a main batsman.
Yeah. I mean, this England side is just something else, man. They will lose a couple of games, but they have that kind of aura about them, and they are just such an incredibly gifted and incredibly talented side. So they will, like we just discussed even in India when we were talking about it. This is going to happen. They will lose an odd game here and there, but I think the
Which they did in
the
the World Cup against Sri Lanka. They were chasing a mere 220 or something, and that's how they imploded as well.
Exactly. So that's going to happen, but I think for the most part they're just a solid bunch, and they know how to get across the line. And the World Cup win has really improved and boosted their confidence, which is great to see. So I wasn't too worried about that. That's their style. They're not going to change that for anybody. So that's why I like to see it's totally fine. Let them go through with it. It's beautiful to see that. And Ian
When your
Morgan is
captain is doing that, that means it's an order for everybody. Because like, I would have expected Morgan to, like, just he hit, like, he was 19 of 9. I was just expecting him to rotate the strike and win the game. It was 6 of 6 required, but he got dropped.
yeah.
So 6 of 6, he got dropped. 4 of 5, and then he went for the shot again. I
Yeah.
just couldn't believe it.
Yeah, that's Morgan for you. That's the style that England has just imbibed in them completely, and there'll be a lot of criticism if they didn't get over the line, but they did.
Huge.
So yeah, but they
Yeah.
did. So it's totally fine. I mean, in hindsight can be your best friend or it can be your worst enemy, right? So this right now, it's worked out nicely for them. So
Yeah.
it shouldn't be a problem. But yeah, I'm a little surprised with Pakistan after Rizwan's really beautiful start. They weren't able to really capitalize, and that 10-15 extra runs would have made the difference today on the day. So something that they have to look into, something that they have to. The middle order has been struggling. They tried Azam Khan. They don't have Fakhar Zaman is more of a opener. They're trying
Were
different
you
things. They're trying
surprised with that? Like, the middle order is opening the batting, and their opening batsmen are playing in the middle order.
Yeah, it's something that I don't know what the thinking is behind it, but it's not working, to be honest with you. I mean, the middle orders are scoring in runs in the opening positions, but the openers are not, but the Fakhar Zaman and
Yeah.
Hafiz and these guys who are usually openers are not able to take care of the middle order slot. So there's something that they have to work around. It's not working out as well as they would have probably liked. They probably had some thinking behind it, but it's not working out. So something they'll have to think about. Something they'll have to like to the likes of Shoaib Malik is still available, I believe, for selection. So maybe try to consider him
The
as
middle
well.
order.
So in the middle order, because you need that stability, you need that grit in the middle, which they're kind of missing. So something to work around over there. But I think both the spinners in both teams, Adil Rashid for England
I
and
was gonna come
Hafiz,
there.
yeah, and Hafiz for Pakistan were incredible on the day.
Also, my boy Moin Ali was in. I
Oh
think the
yes,
way
of
he
course,
pinned them
yes,
down,
yes,
he really restricted the score. Also, a word on Usman Khadir, Abdul Khadir's son, the late Abdul
yeah,
Khadir's son.
yeah.
I think he bowled magnificent. He got hit in the first over, but the way he came back, he picked up a wicket as well. I think it was a really good comeback. And I feel bad. Like this is the crucial T20, and you're playing him his first game of the tour. He should have been playing from before, and like, to throw him in the deep end like that, and he performed. I just feel that he's not getting back properly. I think there's some issue there in the selection committee, and yeah, I don't know what's going on, but Misbah ul Haq and Waqar Yunus under the pump. Waqar Yunus, he's been in the coaching system since 2011. He was the head coach then. Then in 2015 he was coach as well, and now again he's the bowling coach. So there is something going on. They need to sort that out. Sorry, Abra, can you hear me?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, you pause for a bit. Yeah, so that's something. There's some issue going on in the management, and that's affecting that team selection. Also, and that's why I don't think it's fair on Babar Azam. There is issues with his captaincy, but I don't think it's fair on him because the management is not guiding him either. Like these guys have played a combined matches of what so many Misbah and Waqar Yunus, but if they can't tell you like you need to bat first on this pitch or bowl first on this pitch or whatever, like it's going to be difficult. So I think there's some issue with the management where they have to fix, and then they can move on to the players and the captaincy. But also, yeah, I think Babar Azam similar issue. He's to Virat Kohli. He's a wonderful batsman, but captaincy might not be his cup of tea.
I agree 100%. And I think the problem with Pakistan cricket has always been in the background. It's never really been on the field. I think they have talent and they've shown it for several years now that the talent is always available. But the problem has always been the management or the think tank, the selection committee, the politics that goes on behind the scenes. That's always been Pakistan's problem. If they can sort that out by some way, then I think that this Pakistan side can be a world beating side as well. They can be
I
called
completely agree
amongst.
with you. Especially in the UAE in the T20 World Cup, I completely agree with you. They're a team to watch out for. It's just that they need to get their brains
Head
together
together.
because
Yeah,
they take if they can take an England side like this to the last over, they can beat any side on their day.
exactly. And this is with all the politics that goes on behind the scenes, right? If they can clean that out a little bit, I'm not saying that any team will not have politics. There will be some small level of
Yeah.
politics that will always be going on, but this Pakistan side has just way too much to handle. So if they can sort that out to some extent, have a certain style, and if they can just go with it, and I feel like there has to be some very strict rules they have to follow some really strict guidelines to be able to do that. And if they can do that, this is a world beating side. They can be a consistent side as well, and they can be considered amongst the greats like England and in India, because talent wise I don't think they have any shortage. It's just the background and the backroom staff, the backroom noise that is being the biggest problem in Pakistan. It has been for as long as I've been watching cricket, and it will continue to be the problem as long as that's not sorted, I think.
Yeah, 100%. Because everyone says, man, this Pakistan team is not great. This, that. Then they suddenly come up with a performance. They just batter big sides. So that's the thing. And the reason, like you said, is because of the management. It's because of the board, the team selection, and there might be within player politics as well. So I think uh, they have to sort that out and try to be focused because it's going to suit them. The conditions will suit them in Dubai. Again, they need to back their spinners. I think Usman Khadir needs to be backed because on these wickets, even their batsmen will be suited. Like, they like playing on these kind of slower pitches. So in that sense, if it's a average score of 140, 150 in the World Cup, it'll suit Pakistan. So they have to get together and keep their minds clear and come up with a proper order, play their openers in the right positions, batsmen in the right position, and go for it.
Yeah, I think as long as they plan well, I think they have great chances.
But
I mean,
that's
you
the
can't write
problem.
this time. The problem is the planning. It has been for a lot of years, and once that's taken care of, I think they have a good chance. Maybe try an outside coach and give him a good. Maybe try a foreign coach and give him like a good amount of responsibility, and no one else kind of comes in his way. It might be too late for the T20 World Cup, but if they want to look at the World Cup that's coming in a couple of years' time, back him. Back him. You are my captain till the end of the World Cup in 2023. I will accept everything that you say, whatever you want. Give him enough time to be able to change that team and nurture the team and really bring out a solid performance. If he doesn't win you the World Cup in 2023, you can always sack him. Give a team. If he can get you to the finals or semi-finals, at least he's done a good job, right? So I expect more from Pakistan cricket because the talent is there. You see, every now and again they come up with these beautiful fast bowlers, these exciting batsmen, but it's just the consistency of these, and they're not managed well. And then they come in, and then either they unfortunately go the wrong way, like Amir did, or they kind of get injury prone, like Irfan, or they come in there and thereabouts. There's a lot of issues that need to be sorted. If they can figure that out, man, this team has talent. There's no denying that.
Yeah, no, completely, 100%. And just to end it off, the player that impressed you the most in that series?
Livingston, man, that century. Oof. And it's unfortunate that he might not have a place in the 11 come the World Cup, because it's just such a
Seriously,
stacked
man,
side.
what a play! Like, did you see? I mean, that six, I'm sure you saw
That went outside the ground.
Yeah, that went outside the ground in the second T20.
Yeah.
But apart from that six yesterday, first ball, they needed 12 of 7 runs, and he banged it for 6. And then again he went for a 6. He got out. So, but yeah, just clean ball striking. So I think I agree with you. For me, Livingston and even Saqib Mahmood, both Lancashire lads, really impressing. And I agree. Like, if this guy's not getting a place in the side, this team is very, very dangerous. So watch out for him. I think he's actually that finisher role that England might be missing in a sort of sense, and they can actually bump strokes. All these guys, put them like 1, 2, 3, 4, and play Livingston at 6, and just like let him tonk it.
I think possible. It's just that it's going to be hard to get. It's just because they have 15, 18 really good players, and it's going to be hard to fit them all in 11. So it's going to be it's a tricky one for them. So
no, completely 100%. Yeah, completely 100%. Thank you so much for joining me. I think that wraps it up. Both wonderful games. I'll catch you after the India's third one day, and we'll discuss the T20s as well in detail. And I think Pakistan's off to the West Indies, and the 100 is also on, so we'll discuss that. Thank you so much. And if there's any last thoughts, let me know. Otherwise, I will catch you soon.
Yep, looking forward to the games.
Take care, man.